Hey everybody, it's Mike and Jack. Last week I felt somewhat bad that I got Jack to eat sour curdled milk. So this week, thanks to the Girl Scouts of America, Jack, I got a whole bunch of Girl Scout cookies. Here you go. Well, I got a call from my sister who lives down in Louisville, Kentucky. And she had a friend of hers that wanted some Mercury Glass. And well, we didn't know exactly what Mercury Glass was. So being that we're barn dogglers, we thought we should do some research and figure this out and then ultimately try to make some Mercury Glass. And what we found out with Mercury Glass is it was actually originated in around the 1840s in what was then called Bohemia, which, you know, it's a great Queen song, but it's also part of the Czech Republic now. So it was actually double-walled blown glass. And then in between the walls, they would inject silver nitrate and grape sugar, and it would give the glass a silvering effect. And you know, here's another point too, is Mercury Glass, you don't associate it with mirrors. It was, Mercury Glass was set up as tableware. And it was very popular in England for what I'd call the peasant stock, because they couldn't afford silver, but they could afford this Mercury Glass. It was poor man's silver, basically. So we're going to give it a shot on how to make Mercury Glass. So the first thing we got to find is some glass. And now I know I got a bunch of old window panes around here. It's plexiglass. Well, here's our window pane, but sans the glass. Well, here we have our pane of window. Is we have to paint one side of it flat black. So Jack's good graffiti artist, so I think he can handle painting the back side. First thing we got to do is we got to put a little bit of vinegar in our water bottle here. Okay, so I got to put a little more. Okay, so we got some vinegar. And now what I found is we're going to give it a mist, and I like to stay back. So I give it a light spray, but then I try to put some bigger drops on it. And you'll see why. So we've got the vinegar on. Now our next step is applying our Looking Glass spray paint. And Phil at Hardware Hank was good enough to order some of this Krylon Looking Glass paint. And now we're going to spray the paint right over the top of our vinegar water solution. Nice even coat. Stuff's got quite a smell to it. And you can see just how fast the silvering solution, the spray paint, is drying. Because as it dries, it becomes reflective. So you can see it's trying to dry awful fast, which is good. So we've applied our silvering solution. So now the next part is to take a paper towel, and we're going to have to dab off the glass. And that's the reason why we put the vinegar and the water together, and we have these drops on the glass. Because once I dab it with the paper towel, the paint is attached to the vinegar and the water, so it's going to pull it off the glass. So we're going to start dabbing, just dab, dab, dab. And it reveals our flat black background that we painted on the back side of the glass. And the thing about Mercury Glass is Mercury Glass looks like this because of the breakdown of Mercury Glass, which Mercury Glass was double wall blown glass with the silver nitrate solution sandwiched in between. And back in 1830s, 40s, they'd put a wax plug that after they'd inject the solution into the glass. Well, over time, that wax plug would deteriorate and oxygen would enter into the double wall, which would cause oxidation, break down the paint, and then the paint would flake off the original Mercury Glass, and that would leave these little black dots. So that's the concept of Mercury Glass. And it does obviously have some reflective quality in it. And it has a beautiful variegation of the black dots after we dabbed it off. And that's what I think is really cool about this whole Mercury Glass thing. No piece will ever look the same because it's such a random pattern when you spray it with the vinegar water. So every piece is going to look different. And one final note, and it's kind of by choice, but you can also give it a last little fogging of the reflective paint. And that kind of gives it just a little more reflection, and it just creates a really cool look. So we've sprayed our lacquer on this piece of Mercury Glass, which has killed the reflective glass look, which, you know, when you're 50 years old, I don't need to be seeing myself in the mirror very much anymore. I kind of get confused with the Yeti anyway, so we don't need to be looking at myself. But Another thing we did with this piece, because we're kind of infatuated with this rose gold look now, so we got some rose gold spray paint and we outlined the edge of our glass with rose gold. It gives it a little bit of an antique look, plus it helps pick up the tones from our wood frame. The Mercury Glass itself, I think, looks great just in a standalone piece. We put a frame around this one, and we also found a great product to use to finish our frames. It's a General Finishes product. It's a matte look, so we don't have much of a sheen. It's a water-based product. It works fantastic. Gives a great look.